Hello and welcome to The Wargamer, and you're joining me for another X-Wing Miniatures game unboxing video, and this time we're looking at the Shadowcaster, which is the signature ship of the bounty hunter Ketsu Onyo, and comes in this rather sizable box, which is fitting because the Shadowcaster is a rather sizable ship, as you can see there. So flipping the box over, we can see the contents that we get in the set, including the ship. We also get the rule sheet, 18 cards, 29 tokens, a maneuver dial, base and pegs. So let's open this box up and take a look at the contents inside. So first things first, we have this sheet of paper which contains a component list, so all the components you actually get in here are individually listed. We also get this new rules section as well, which describes the tractor beam token and its uses, as well as mobile firing arcs, and it also gives you some large ship information as well. We also get a mission in here, which is a mission 16, grab and smash, and finally we also get the Lancer class pursuit craft maneuvers table there as well. So that's a small little introduction sheet to the set, and make sure you keep hold of this as it does include some special rules that you'll need when using the Shadowcaster. So the next up, let's look at some of the tokens. So here we have some of the tokens that you get with the Shadowcaster. First of all, we have this cargo debris token here, which I'll be explaining more when I look at some of the cards. We also have this maneuver dial here, which features mainly white and green maneuvers, but you can see we also have a single red maneuver, which we saw on the table earlier on. We get 3 shield tokens. We also get 4 of these intel tokens, and these are numbered 1 to 4, as you can see when I flip them over on the back there, and are used in some missions. We also have these ID tokens, and these are numbered 0 to 2, and we actually get 9 of these altogether. Then we get these 2 target lock tokens at the bottom here, II and also JJ. We have an evasion token, focus token, a stress token, hyperspace token, and we also have the tractor beam token, which we saw in the special rules on the sheet, and finally we have a critical hit token as well. And these are all made out of the thick card that we've come to expect these kind of tokens to be made from. Pretty standard for X-Wing. All the range rules and also all the other tokens that you get in the star set all come in the same thickness of card. Very nice detail as well. As you can see, we've got this printed cargo debris field just on the surface there. Quite sturdy, quite nice, and are definitely going to take a battering in your games, and they probably hold up really nicely as well. So that's the tokens looked at. Let's move on to some of the cards. So here we have some of the cards that you get with the Shadowcaster. We've got the 5 different types of upgrade cards here. First of all, we've got a modification in which you get 1 countermeasures, 1 gyroscopic targeting, and 2 tactical jammers in there as well. Next, we have some illicit cards. We have 2 black market slicer tool cards, and also the rigged cargo chute. And I'll explain more about this card in a moment, and this essentially has something to do with that token that we saw in the last section. We also have some crew cards as well. So we've got IG-88D, Ketsu Onyo, who is actually the character who the Shadowcaster is famous for, and also Lats Razi as well. This brings us to the Elite card. We can get a single one of these, and this is Veteran Instincts. It'll increase your pilot skill value by 2. And finally, we have the Title card, which is the actual Shadowcaster itself. And this allows you to basically trigger the Tractor Beam token that we've already seen. And the Tractor Beam token allows you to do a couple of different things. Basically, you can reduce the agility of the opponent by 1, and you also, the first time they are hit by a Tractor Beam in a round, can actually perform a speed 1 forward boost, or you can cause them to do a barrel roll in the direction of your choosing, which is extremely useful for making them crash into obstacles or your debris field, which we'll be looking at shortly very soon. So that's the first set of cards. Let's move on to the next set. So next up we have the ship cards. We actually get 4 of these in this set, and you can see here we've got first of all we've got Ketsu Onyo, who has access to the elite crew and 2 illicit upgrade slots there. Same again for Asajj Ventress, and then we have Sabine Wren, who just has the crew and the 2 illicit upgrades, and then again crew and 2 illicit upgrades here. But as they go down, you do get slightly cheaper, as you can see. This brings us to these cargo cards. Now these essentially explain what the rules are, and what you do if you use your rigged cargo chute, you can essentially deploy the token that we looked at in one of the previous sections, which is bringing the token again here. You can see it's got this flat section which lines up with one of these sections here, and this essentially gets jettisoned at the back of your craft, and if an opponent flies into it, they suffer a stress token, but can also have a critical damage point caused on them. So it's quite a nice little trap. If you've got someone hot on your tail, you can deploy one of those and cause the enemy to fly directly into it. So that's all of the cards looked at. Let's move on to the actual ship itself. So before I move on to the Shadowcaster miniature itself, let's look at the base. Now first of all, we get these base cards at the bottom. We get 2 of these, and these are all double-sided, so you get 4 different ships which correspond to the ship cards that we've already looked at. Now you may be wondering what this dial is on the front end. This is the mobile firing arc, and I've briefly mentioned it earlier on in the video, and this is basically a special feature of the Shadowcaster, and it allows it to fire in different arcs other than its main one at the front there. So what you do is when you actually put the ship onto the table for the first time, you simply pick one of the firing arcs, pretty much any of them other than this one you could choose from. So you can choose your left, rear or right firing arcs, and what happens is when you actually come to fire your primary weapon, you can either fire it in your forward facing arc, or you can fire it in the mobile firing arc. In this case it would be to the left, so it gives you a couple of options there. However, when you actually come to fire your secondary weapon, you can only ever fire it in your forward facing arc. Now as an action, you can actually choose to move this around, so you can move it from one section to another section like so, choosing which one you want to move it from, really giving you some versatility. So not only are you able to, if you're coming up on the left of an enemy, you could actually set it to the right, which means you've got a double chance of hitting them, or if you've got someone on your tail, you flip it around to the back and you can shoot either forwards or backwards, depending on where is the most prioritized target. So that's the base looked at. Let's move on to the final part of this video, which is of course looking at the Shadowcaster miniature itself. So here we have the Shadowcaster ship itself, and it really is an immense miniature. It's much bigger than a lot of the small ships, obviously, as it is a large ship, but it's also very finely detailed as well, not only in the actual modelling and sculpting of the miniature, but also in its painting as well. So much like the ARC 170 I looked at in my previous video, the paint job on this Shadowcaster features some excellent paint chipping and dirt and grime, and also some scorch marks as well. It really gives some depth to the miniature as well. It means you don't have to actually go ahead and repaint it to add in some of those extra layers of details. It's really nice seeing some of the more recent X-Wing miniatures, especially the ones that are designed to be, for example, these bounty hunters, for example, aren't going to be the peak of their colours. They're going to be faded, they're going to be worn, they're going to be stolen, things like that. It really adds to the level of detail for this miniatures game. To give you a sense of scale of this miniature, along the width it's about 12 centimeters or 4.5 inches, and that's the exact same again for the length of the ship. And obviously it's a round disc, which actually makes it really quite a sizable miniature. It's quite chunky and quite heavy, and the actual plastic it's made of is a little bit more solid than some of the smaller miniatures that we've looked at in X-Wing, which have a slightly more flexible plastic. So overall, this miniature is both excellent to look at, but also very interesting to play on the tabletop as well. It has the features such as the mobile firing arcs, the cargo emitter from the back, and also the tractor beam as well, which really make it for a really fun and interesting ship to play in X-Wing. Now, if you'd like to pick up one of these Shadowcasters for yourself, you can do so for £36.99, and I'll pop a link in the description below, which will take you directly to the Asdevium Games website, which has a local store finder as well. You can find the nearest place that stocks X-Wing for you. And finally, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see me tackle more X-Wing content in the future, please do let me know in the comments below, and also subscribe to be kept up to date with all my future videos. And until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.